Even Sir Secretary, how can I help?
It appears my daughter's gone missing.
No one has seen her now.
No. We phoned round the family, all her friends have contacted us and asking where she is, and none of them know.
What's her name?
Becky Watts.
How are you? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I post solved or unsolved cases. If you enjoy, please subscribe. Now let's get into the case of Becky Watts. So today's case brings us to Bristol. It is in the southwest of the UK. Bristol is known for its harbour and being the birthplace of famous artist Banksy. Banksy, his real name and identity is unknown. However, he is well known for his graffiti art. Bristol is affectionately known as Bristol by its locals. On the 19th of February 2015, 16-year-old Becky was last seen in a house by her stepmother Angie. Angie left at 11:15 for a hospital appointment, and when she returned, Becky was gone. It would be the next day when Becky was reported missing. Becky was born on the 3rd of June in 1998. She was described as a happy person, and she loved life. Her parents separated when she was just 3 years old. She then went to live with her father Darren and his new partner Angie. Angie had a son of her own. His name was Nathan Matthews, and he was 12 years older than Becky. When Becky was 13, she was teased in school about her weight, and from this she developed anorexia. This led her to dropping out of school for a while. But things started to look up, and she began a relationship with a guy named Luke, and Luke would be the last person to receive a text from Becky. So let's fast forward to the 19th of February when Angie returned home and there was no sign of Becky. Her phone and laptop were missing from the house, but she didn't take any money or clothes, or she didn't tell anyone where she was going. Calls to Becky's phone went straight to her voicemail, and she never made any contact to any of her friends. This was weird, as Becky was very close to her friends and she would tell them everything.
I just want to say to Becky, you're not in any trouble. We're all concerned about your well-being, and we just want to make sure that you're okay. If you can call home, or one of your friends, or phone us, the police, on 101, just confirm where you are, let us know you're okay. You can work through any issues that you might be facing. I would also ask anyone who might have any information about where Rebecca is to come forward and talk to us.
The national news covered the disappearance of Becky, and there were searches all over Bristol. And Becky's dad Darren even went on radio stations to just try get her name in. During the investigation, it was found Becky wasn't alone in the house when Angie seen her last. She was in the house with her stepbrother Nathan and his partner Shauna. Matthew had been in a relationship with Shauna since he was in his early 20s, and she was just 14. Now this was a huge red flag. The pair lived together and Shauna would become a carer for Angie. Angie had multiple sclerosis, which is why she went to the hospital on the day Becky went missing. And when they were questioned, Nathan and Shauna said they didn't see Becky. They just heard her leave the house.
I think we got there about 11ish. The door was locked, so obviously we used a key from underneath the recycling bin. Got in, heard music upstairs. Assumed Becky had been in then. I went into the kitchen to get a cigarette and went to go outside to have a cigarette. My daughter started whinging because she wanted to come out with me, so I took her down to the garden to help feed the rabbit while I had a cigarette. Probably was about 15-20 minutes. Then we came back up. I went into the kitchen to get a drink, I think it was, and wash my hands. Then I heard the front door slam. Carried on washing my hands, went into the living room. And then I think it wasn't until a lot later on that Angie asked me if Becky had gone out. And I said, yeah, I heard the door go. She must have gone out earlier. Washing my hands, I think I heard the door slam, front door. Again, I didn't look at the time or think anything of it, so I didn't really kind of like, oh, what was that? It was just the door, so Becky would have gone out.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I think I've accidentally got this in the wrong order here.
Okay.
You have to clarify this. So, right, let me just go back slightly then, if I could. The door slamming then. You've already said you got to get from the kitchen through to the living room.
Yep.
So, how far away from that front door would you be?
But you've got the front door, the living room, and about halfway up the hallway is the kitchen. So I would have been at the sink. So no distance, a reasonable amount, I'd say.
Okay. And immediately before this sound of the door slamming, what could you hear then?
I think it was just CBeebies again, to be honest. I was kind of more, trying to make sure I had vitamins back and getting my drink.
Yeah.
No, I heard stomping down the stairs. That's what made me think that Becky left in a mood. So I said to Angie, because obviously the door slammed, I wasn't sure if that was the wind. I took it because there was like quite stomp down the stairs. I assumed, she was in a bit of one of her tantrums.
Yeah.
The investigators noticed something strange. Shauna and Nathan were dodging interviews, and they weren't cooperating with the police. So in the second interview, they said this to them.
It's just a minor thing really, but I think some of our colleagues were trying to speak to Nathan, just part of those initial inquiries just a few days ago, on Tuesday I think it was, and they sort of perceived a bit of reluctance. Do you have any knowledge of that?
Not to my knowledge, but I wouldn't know, no.
No. Has Nathan had any sort of concerns about speaking to us?
Not that he's told me, no.
No. Okay.
If he does, I wouldn't know then.
Yeah. How is he finding it?
He's found it quite hard, actually. Again, he's kind of more thinking, my God, if it would... Or again, knowing how hard it'd be for his mum at the moment. Because Becky was almost like her daughter to her.
Yeah.
The interviews with the pair it was almost rehearsed, like word for word. It was very strange. It's like they came up with a story and then they just stuck with it. Police did suspect there was something off with the pair, and they weren't telling everything they knew. But they had to move on, so they went to the original house where Becky went missing, or stormed out from, according to Nathan and Shauna. They searched the house, and this time they found traces of blood on the door frame to Becky's room, and on the handle they also found a fingerprint. And yes, you guessed it, the fingerprint matched to Mr. Nathan Matthews. Nathan and Shauna were then arrested for kidnapping. The investigators believed Becky may still be alive at this point. After this, the police went and searched the pair's house. The house was an absolute pigsty. But strangely, the bath, it was very clean. It was immaculate, like it was just cleaned. During the search, they also found receipts for the 20th of February, the day after Becky went missing. On the receipts was a circular saw, gloves, goggles and a face mask. Now what would they be using them for? The police then checked the CCTV footage of the hardware store where these items were purchased. And unsurprisingly, they see a name. After this, the pair were arrested.
The time that Rebecca, or Becky, I think most people know
Becky,
her as, yeah, Becky.
Or Bex.
Yeah, okay. Do you know her as Becky or Bex?
Usually call her Bex.
Is she safe?
Well, I didn't know where she is, so I'm meant to know.
Is there anything that happened that could be significant in the disappearance of Rebecca? Are you absolutely sure? Yes. I know you've got something to tell us. I can see it in your face.
I was just making sure there was nothing, like a weird, significant thing that I hadn't thought of. I don't know.
Nathan admitted to kidnapping Becky. He said he didn't like the way she treated her parents, and he said he ended up strangling her and that it was an accident.
This interview is being recorded at Patchway Police Station in Bristol. It is now Tuesday, the 3rd of March 2015, and it's exactly 12 midday. How about if we start with this idea you had about scaring Becky?
I don't know if it was on TV or something like that, but obviously I had a couple of dreams. Prime was obviously once I got her in the car, I was thinking of like a wooded area or whatever, to obviously take her back out, obviously still have the mask on, scare her and, you know, say something along the lines of, you know, you've got to start treating people better, you know, not being a bitch or self-centered, and then like make a threat of, you know, or this could happen again or worse or something like that. Obviously walk away after.
And then the body of Becky was found. The relationship between Nathan and Shauna was a strange one, as you may have guessed. They had very weird fantasies, and on the day they victimed Katie, the fantasies would come to life. Nathan Matthews arrived to the house on the 18th of February, just after Angie left, and he arrived with a kidnap kit. This included handcuffs and a stun gun. He then went up to Katie's bedroom and he suffocated her, while stabbing her 15 times, killing her. Becky's body was then moved to Nathan's car. From there they took the body back to their house, they took her up the stairs and they put her in the bath. And then when she was in the bath, they dismembered her, limb from limb, hiding her body parts in the neighbour's shed. Nathan pled guilty to manslaughter, and Shauna said she was innocent, and that she didn't commit any crimes. After a 5-week trial, Nathan was found guilty of murder, while Shauna was charged with manslaughter, along with various other crimes. Nathan was sentenced to life with a minimum of 23 years, while Shauna was given 17 years. It was a very tragic case for Becky and her family, but thankfully Nathan and Shauna, they got what they deserved. Life in prison isn't going well for Nathan. He was attacked. And when Becky's dad Darren found out this, he was happy. And he said he couldn't have asked for a better birthday present. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any case requests, you can send them directly to my email. And I'll see you in the next one.